Skye was born in the heart of the Mwangi Expanse, a region both wild and sacred. Her early life was steeped in nature, but unlike many druids of her circle, Skye also bore the markings of a different path, one shaped by conflict. Her enclave, Thorn Hollow, was known for its unique role as a guardian of balance, not only between nature and civilization, but also between peace and necessary defense. The druids of Thorn Hollow were oath-bound to protect the dromaeosaurs of the region, fierce and intelligent creatures believed to be sacred guardians of the jungle's deepest magic. Skye's mother, Nida, served both as a druid and commander of Thorn Hollow's protectors. Under her guidance, Skye grew up with a reverence for life, but also an understanding that sometimes, to protect, one must stand firm. When Skye was still young, their enclave faced a brutal attack. An ambitious warlord seeking to claim the jungle's power laid siege to Thorn Hollow. The defenders fought valiantly, but the cost was high. The dromaeosaurs they had sworn to protect were nearly wiped out. In the final hours of the battle, Nida and her closest allies safeguarded a hidden clutch of dromaeosaur eggs. Skye, amidst the chaos, was drawn to them. As the flames consumed their home, Skye reached out to the last remaining egg. A surge of primal magic pulsed through her, awakening a bond older than memory. From that egg hatched Kiba for short, a young dromaeosaur with emerald feathers and eyes that gleamed with ancient runes. The two were connected in spirit and soul, the last echoes of a sacred pact. Though the warlord was driven back, Thorn Hollow lay in ruins. Her mother was lost, and Skye, carrying both grief and purpose, vowed to honor her grove's legacy. With Kiba by her side, she set out into the wider world. Her faith in Erastil, god of family, community, and the hunt, gave her a new path. She came to see not just the wilderness, but the need for strong, guided communities to stand against chaos. This belief led her away from Thorn Hollow, seeking wisdom in distant lands. Eventually, her journey brought her to the monastery in Nantambu, a place struggling to find its place in a changing world. Though her trendy, vibrant appearance made her stand out among the reserved monks, her reassuring presence and the ever-watchful Kiba quickly earned trust. She often opposes ideas that threaten harmony, speaking plainly, with a voice grounded in both compassion and conviction. Now Skye follows the signs Erastil places before her, driven by a restless desire to heal what is broken and stop the rising adversities that threaten both nature and civilization. Wherever she walks, Kiba is never far, their bond a living reminder of all she fights to protect.
Our new character. We know her name is Skye, so let's just go new empty character, name Skye. No fancy spelling, just S-K-Y. Create character. Now I'm going to take the things that we already know. We know she is a human. We're going to add and close that. We don't know her heritage actually, so we're going to do a little bit of character building real quick. I'm going to roll all these randomly, as I like to do. There's 7 options for this one. Roll D8. I'm going to make this quick and painless, so that's the 6th option. Oh, a medium armor warden, okay. Add and close, okay. Alright, taking away ones that need validation only leaves us with 6 options. Clears it up a little bit, so for this we're going to take the 3rd option. Your powerful ego makes it harder for others to order you around, okay. If you roll success on saving throw against mental effects, yada yada yada. I'm going to sit here and read everything just right now. So I know that there are 40 options in the player core 1. So that's where I'm going to roll 2 d20s, add those together. I've got 18 and 9, that's going to be 27. Ooh, martial disciple. Ooh, athletics or acrobatics? We'll go athletics, just because. Alright, now class, very important. Huge detail. I'm not going to take anything off the table, but I am, again, going to only use the options that are in the player core 1, because it's what I have in front of me, and it narrows things down. So that gives us 8 options. I'm going to leave everything on the table, and let's see what we get. 3, 1, 2, 3. Ooh, a druid. That is pretty cool. I was kind of hoping that a spellcaster would come up. Spellcasting is an extra level of complication, but it's something I need to tackle. So we have a druid, and that is very fitting for a worshipper of Erastil. Alright, and it looks like we have 4 options for the druidic order. I'm going to roll a d8, cut it in half, but that doesn't need to be cut in half, so it's animal. Alright. Add and close, which works because that makes them, I believe, proficient in athletics, which we kind of already chose with a different option. Voice of nature. I think we already went animal, so we'll just stick with animal. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. And, oh, we get an animal companion. Ooh, I think I already really like this. I might like her more than I like Krog. Just kidding, sorry Krog. Alright, I'm just gonna choose some spells real quick. Cut that part out. Okay, wow. I actually rolled all of those randomly. I only chose one reroll because one of them landed on Detect Magic, and first off, that's a really lame spell in my opinion. I'm sure it has applications, but especially not in a solo game. That's just too much meta going on. Very useless, waste of space. But I got such a surprisingly useful set of cantrips. I just wanted to touch on that. Also, wow, there are so many first level spells. Alright, I'm kind of sticking with the animal theme here. I'm going to choose animal allies, which I have not heard of. Which is kind of interesting. You summon tiny ordinary animals from the environment, such as insects, birds, or fish, to quickly lash out at nearby foes. I'm going to add and close that. And lastly, we just need to figure out an animal companion. Hello friends and fellow adventurers. Thank you for joining me. This video is going to be a character creation video. And rather, it's going to be a continuation of the character creation process, which I initially started at the end of my previous session. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out of that video, so it'll probably make that a shorter session, which will probably be the video prior to this one. So that'll be a shorter video, and I'm going to cut this video in with it to kind of make it all make sense, because I realized a lot of stuff that I missed and some other stuff that I cut out, or I'm gonna need to cut out of the other one. One of those things being when I was going through and picking an animal companion, I was all over the place, but I've narrowed it down to a few options, and we'll get to that later in this video. A few things that I rolled off camera when I was trying to get a good image created for Skye when I was editing the Session 6 video. One of those was I asked the dice if Skye was native to the Mwangi Expanse, and I got a 0-1. That is as extreme yes as possible. So Skye was born and has been in the Mwangi Expanse her whole life. I don't think she has any plans of ever leaving. That being said, that's going, being as she's human, that's going to reflect what she looks like, which is why I kind of gave her a darker complexion, darker hair, for the visual in the Session 6 video, and I'm going to continue with that. Another thing, I rolled her 2 favorite colors just so I can get kind of a theme for her look, and that was purple and green, which you could see in the image in the Session 6 video. And then obviously we already know that she's a worshipper of Erastil, because she's from the monastery. So Well, let's jump into rolling on some of these tables to figure out a little bit more about our new character, Skye. So we know that she's a druid. That's her class from the Pathfinder side of things. And also in the Pathfinder side of things, her background is martial disciple, which is actually a really good one. I'm glad I rolled that one up. So we are going to move on to a little method that I've been using for all my previous characters that I've been using Pathfinder, but I'm going to use the Mythic tables to figure out the appearance, a background, kind of more about how she got to where she is. Conversation table is the one I'm going to roll on, but that's going to tell me kind of how she speaks. Then we'll do motivation, personality. Then we need to figure out a weapon for her. She is a druid, so she's mainly spellcasting, but she has a pretty high strength, so we're going to have to find a weapon for her. And also armor, because I didn't do those in the previous video. So let's just get into rolling on those tables. So first up, we have appearance. Alright, for appearance, our two words are 94, which is trendy, okay, and 72, which is reassuring. Trendy and reassuring. Next up, we have background. Now this is going to be separate from our actual background we rolled in Pathfinder. And it looks like we have 66, which is military, okay, and 92, trauma, military and trauma. Alright, I'm already kind of seeing that her family came from military. Either her dad or her mom or both were in the military. I'm assuming here in Nantambu, or perhaps somewhere else, but we know it was in the Mwangi Expanse. And trauma. I'm almost certain that her parents... let's ask real quick. Since we're not really in a session or anything, we'll just do Chaos Factor 5. Are her parents dead due to some military circumstances? I'm thinking that's likely. A 12 on a likely is an extreme yes. Alright, so she lost her parents due to some military reason, and I will figure that out in between. We're not going to figure out every single detail in this video. This is just a character creation video. Alright, conversation table. Let's figure that out. Alright, on the conversation table we have 78 normal and 82 oppose. Okay, so she doesn't have anything like, she doesn't have a lisp, or she doesn't have any outstanding things that characterize the way she speaks. But oppose, I'm thinking she's always talking against what people are saying, like, oh, I like that restaurant. Yeah, but that restaurant also has this. So I will keep that in mind. Now we're on to the motivation table. We have 2, which is adversity, and we have 92, which is stop. Stop adversity. Wow, okay, I really admire that, actually. Stop adversity. Her motivation is to go out there and basically help people. Stop in any way that she can people from facing adversity. Wow, she's shaping up to be a pretty awesome person already. Alright, now let's roll on personality. In my opinion, I know I kind of made this system up, but the personality is really the least important, and it's slightly redundant as far as like motivation and conversation really go. So we have 40. which is follower, and we have 81, which is restless. So her personality is she's a follower and she's restless. Okay, I can get behind that. She's a druid and she has her animal companion. So she's a bit of a follower. I don't think her animal companion leads her, but I also don't think that she necessarily leads her companion. She's a follower and a friend. And restless, that just kind of makes sense. I'm really picturing her pretty young, maybe like 19 or 20. I was gonna roll for that, but really the way she's shaping up here, I think she is gonna be pretty young. Because we have trendy and reassuring, so I think she's gonna try to like be on the trendy side of like what she wears and also follower, so that goes with that too. So as far as rolling on the tables, that is all we needed for Mythic, which thank you to the Mythic system. Anybody watching this and isn't familiar, I use the Mythic Game Master emulator, 2nd edition. It's awesome for solo play. Highly recommend that. So let's actually go here to armor. She is trained in up to medium armor, and she only has a dexterity of +1. Alright, we'll go with chainmail, since she does have a dex of 1. This will give her the best AC. That'll give her the best chance for surviving. And we don't have to, we can play it any way we want. We can flavor it as if she's wearing padded armor, but we're going to give her the chainmail anyway, so we're going to buy and close that, which was a big chunk of our money. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's move on to, in my opinion, the most important role of this video, and that's going to be the animal companion. Now, I've narrowed it down to 3 options that I really like. Ones that I feel are very appropriate for the Mwangi Expanse, aka like a jungle-esque setting. And that's going to be a raptor, which I think would be really cool. Pangolin, which is a really awesome animal anyway in the real world. And also the way they build the stats in this is even better. And also a third option, I put in a terror bird. And it's going to be, it has the size of large, so if it comes up terror bird, she's going to be able to ride this thing like a mount, which I think that would be really cool too. So I have 3 options that I'm happy with, no matter what it lands on. So I'm going to roll a d6, cut it in half, and that is going to be Skye's animal companion. Let's go. 1, it's a raptor. Okay, I'm happy with that. Alright, add and close for that. Which I believe that was everything I wanted to take care of. We're gonna go ahead and say that she is younger. We'll just say a flat 20 just for simplicity. So yeah, I will probably have Lyra help me do the intro. I'll come up with a good background. I'll come up with a good story that kind of like led her up to this point in our story when Krog meets her. So that should be a lot of fun, and I'll throw that in at the beginning and then show the whole how we got to that point afterwards. That way anybody not actually interested in that can just get the fun bits out of the way. And yeah, so I'm going to stop it there. It's already gone on a lot longer than I needed it to. So thank you so much for watching if you did. And as always, have a great day. I will see you next time. Goodbye, friends.